Welcome to the Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, and where Linux is always on tap. Each show we'll have a talk about a Linux project, such as a distribution, desktop environment, or application. We also chat about the news or any variety of topics, anything that is Linux, tech, and open source related on the table for discussion. I'm Nate, a Linux fitness and vintage tech enthusiast, which is why I got the Commodore thing over here, with an almost unhealthy obsession with the OpenSUSE project. With me today, I got a fantastic panel of people. I have Benji. He changes his name every week, it seems like. Benji, Dale of Low Tech Linux fame. Mike Chilson, Jinda, Eric, Tyler, Adam Grubbs, and GNU to Linux, or also known as Jim, whichever he's being referred to tonight. So hello and welcome, everybody. Y'all doing well?
Thanks a lot.
How are you doing, Mike?
Great. I did say y'all, and I'm from the north, so I'm not sure how that happened. So anyway, been around the country folk too much. So on the
Because you've been in Texas.
yes,
Of
actually
course.
I have been, but last week, because I wasn't here, was no Linux Saloon last week because I was at the county fair. I'm not to brag, but I am on the poultry committee, so I help out with that, and it's a lot of fun, although extremely exhausting, but lots of fun. See, look at that! Got a little baby chick in a shell. Oh, that is kind of, what is that? You got Tyler. You have to explain yourself right now before we go on any further.
It's some
Mike,
sort
little-
of something.
Fidget toy I got off of Etsy. It's a little chick, but it has a little key on top.
So can that
Key
tie into
switch.
anything? Like can that Bluetooth connect into something or?
No, it's just 3D printed and the key switches fit in there. There's
Okay,
nothing
so-
electronic in there.
So, Tyler, I think we need to step up your fidget game, and maybe that should like cycle through your tabs on your browser. That would be kind of cool, I think. You can do that. Would no? Am I the cheese
Probably
that
not.
stand? No. Okay. Well, I tried. So on the docket for today,
Failed epically.
we have well, you know what? That's some people are good at failing epically, and I got a whole mountain of failures that I can stand upon. So on the docket for today, we've got we're talking about Debian. We'll do a community free pour with Ben. Apparently, he wants to talk about some StormOS stuff, and then we'll do a straw poll. We'll talk about a straw poll ahead of time. But first, what have we been doing in Linux and tech? You know, Adam hit me up right before we got this thing going, and you've done something very cool, Adam. Something that I've not been able to achieve, and that is you've joined a makerspace group. How did
I have.
How did this happen? And tell us a little bit about this.
So my wife has been part of this makerspace for quite some time, about a year or so now.
Oh.
Like, quite a long time. She's does way more cool things than I ever do. But I decided that I had some projects that I was needing to do that required some soldering, and I wanted to get into some 3D printing for some accessories for various things around here, and can't really do that in my apartment without setting off the alarms and things, or causing myself to pass out from fumes. So
Well, you could.
join. I could.
And then you could
But I
wake up with
won't.
a gnarly headache.
Yeah.
That is an option.
I'm gonna avoid that, but so yeah. So there's a makerspace here in Madison called the Bodgery, and they actually are in part of the old Oscar Mayer packaging plant.
Nice.
And so they rent out space there, and they said there was like 700 members or some huge number of people that are members there. And obviously there's like a monthly fee and stuff, but it's all volunteer run. So like everybody there is basically a volunteer. No one's like an employee, so to speak. Basically the money that you pay goes to keeping rent and other things, right? They have a ton of like different machinery in different areas. Obviously the two areas I'll be interested in, the electronics area, and then there's a 3D printing area. They have a 3D printer that's like, I want to say like 4 feet by 4 feet.
Wow.
On the plate. Like, it's
Holy
a massive
cow.
printer. Yeah, they have a huge printer. They have
How tall?
They have like 5 or I want to say probably about a meter, like from the top, like where the nozzle can go like up to a meter tall. It's a massive printer. They were printing prosthetics on it for a while for the hospital here, which was pretty neat. But yeah, they have the electronics and the 3D printing. They have a bunch of sewing and like stuff. They have a leather working area. They have CNC machines, the laser cutters. They have metal like mills and lathes and stuff for like metal shop stuff. They have wood areas with all the various saws and wood things. Just a ton of equipment. Basically stuff that would just be prohibitively expensive if you tried to buy it yourself, and
Right.
like there's nowhere to put it. And so I'm joining there mostly for the electronics and the 3D printing, but who knows? I might do other stuff too.
So
And there's a lot of people there, so there's something that like I would need a metal person to do. Like there are people there that I could hey, like, do you mind doing this or whatever? And so it's a whole community of people.
man, if Madison were just a little bit closer to Southwest Michigan, dang, that'd be really awesome.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool space.
Yeah, I can already think of like a half dozen things I'd love to do already, but
Yeah,
I'll have to stick with
there's
my.
there's a lot of artists there, but there's also like people who start businesses there. Like
Okay.
they'll use the equipment there to start their business and stuff. Like it's pretty awesome. A lot of great people.
Prove out a concept or build a prototype or something.
I'll just manufacture the stuff.
Oh, just be able to continuously
Yeah.
manufacture. That's cool.
Just
or like on
smaller
demand.
things, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like
I can
doing
see that.
commissioned work or stuff like
Yeah.
like you said, on demand things. And
Is there an expectation that you would pay for the material and just be able to use the equipment, or?
so the great thing about this whole thing is it's volunteer, right? And so a lot of the material is actually just donated by people. So it's
Okay.
kind of like if you go up to the station, there's wire, electronics, for example, there's wire, there's solder, there's flux, there's like all this stuff that you can use, little diodes. There's buckets of just random like LEDs and stuff. Like you can just use any of the materials, and the expectation is that you sort of pay it forward by adding some to the collection later, kind of thing, right?
Right.
So it's more of a
Gotcha.
communal kind of type of thing rather than like bring your own stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Awesome.
nobody.
There's materials there. There's equipment there. They give classes. There's people who are, like will teach things. There's people who do demos. It's a whole thing.
Do you have a link to this group? I mean, I don't know how many people in Madison.
Yeah, I can send it
Yeah.
to you.
But that's really neat, because it'd be neat to have just put a link in the show notes, so
Mhm.
for funsies. But yeah, that's
Yeah, so
that's
it's a pretty
super.
cool place. We did the orientation last night, and so they take you like on a tour and everything. They get you your little access fob and all that kind of stuff. So show you where all the fire extinguishers are, which is important.
Right, for sure. So what is
yeah,
is there like different rates of monthly cost to be a part of this? Like how does it?
it's all the same price, $50
Okay.
a month.
That's
Except actually, Nessa pays 50, and since I am her husband, then I get it for 25.
oh
So she pays 50, and I get a half off.
well, collectively you pay 75 for the two of you.
75 for the two of us. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it beats 100.
Yeah,
So
that's
$75 a month gets us access to all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad. That's cheaper than buying the stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Do
Go
you?
ahead, Eric.
I was just going to say, do you already have projects in mind that you want to
I
undertake?
do. Yeah, I have. Some old motherboards and retro consoles that need battery replacements. Those
Okay.
are the sort of soldered in like battery holders, right? So I got to replace those. I need to do the arduous journey of recapping my Xbox, my original Xbox,
Oh,
because
my.
it comes from the days where capacitors were made out of paper mache and filled with boom juice. So
I was gonna say where they actually put a little they wrapped detonation cord around them, and so after a certain period of time, it'll actually
basically,
self-detonate.
yeah.
Yeah.
The top of the Xbox says front towards enemy. It's like that. But yeah, so I got to recap that. I'm looking into maybe in a couple months. I'm looking into building a custom keyboard.
Ooh.
So
That'd be cool.
That will require some soldering and stuff there.
Will it take
I would
notes from your fancy keyboard that your whatever ergonomic split keyboard will be like along those lines?
it will also be a split keyboard, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and then for 3D printing stuff, I'm mainly looking into like some desk organization, like cable management pieces, as well as some stuff for my ergonomics stuff. Saw online where people are making like vertical mice shells for non-vertical mice.
Oh, that's
You know,
neat.
so like
Uh-huh.
a nice gaming mouse that I could turn into a vertical mouse with
Right.
a 3D printed shell. So I'm kind of looking into doing something like that.
No, that's
You know, cool, some cool stuff like that.
yeah, that's really neat. That's super cool. I can tell you that like when it comes to like cable management or like workspace improvement, the flexibility of being able to design and print your own things to match your particular use case, to me is it's you can't beat it. You really can't beat it. Like so I recently upgraded the monitors in my home office, not here in my lab, but my home office. That's in my
Right.
bedroom. And so I made like I needed my monitors to be out a little bit wider, so I made designed and then printed like arms to extend out so I could actually move them out. And then I had the way I had my laptop set in the center, I had just whatever it was something I bought like a generic laptop stand thing, which was it's meant for a larger laptop. So I ended up designing and printing. This is actually my first iteration, but a platform specifically for my framework. So I have a vent hole cut out here.
Right.
These are just like so I didn't waste material. So it's a VESA mount that mounts from underneath, and then where the rubber feet go just kind of sit right in here, and so it just has a nice spot where I can put it every time. This is my first iteration. I have a better one now, but just to be able to do this, and then now it looks like my laptop is just kind of floating in midair. It doesn't actually look like it's got anything underneath it. I don't know. I kind of like it, you know, and and so yeah, just being able to do little things like that. I know I can't describe enough like how much 12, 13, 14-year-old me would have just be like in an absolute, paradise.
Oh yeah.
Now, or even like what you got going on is way better than what I have going on here for sure. So, and have those
I
kind
pay
of
for the
resources. Well, but to have those kind of resources too, because if you need help with something, you can get that help directly, and someone can show you. I don't know if you've done much with like soldering, like soldering and such, but
Yeah. The pumps, the wicks, and whatnot. Yeah.
I don't have a pump, but I do have used the wick quite a bit, and but have like access to a pump. Or have you seen those soldering tweezers where it's like a tweezer solder, so you can actually then.
Oh yeah. Like,
I mean, there's
pick up little solder balls. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you can do
Like the heated tweezers, they're wacky.
Yeah, so if you, I don't know if you have access to things like that there, but
There's a ton of stuff there. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some people use those on the YouTubes, and I'm like, man, I would love to have that, but I don't have a budget for that. Like, it's not even I can't afford that. But if you can get to that,
Right. Yeah, and they have a bunch of other like outside of just soldering, they have a lot of electronics equipment, oscilloscopes and a bunch of other like electronic doodads that I wouldn't know the first thing about, but someone will hopefully teach me.
well, every mad scientist needs an oscilloscope, so you're well
That's
on your
true.
way.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll probably just end up playing tennis for two, but it's all good. But they have a Slack server, so like they have all the different like the different like areas, and they have like area captains and like area teams, and then people within those groups and stuff. So you can like reach out, and like I saw in the Slack earlier where like somebody needed a heat gun to work in the electronics area. Like they needed to like shrink, do some heat shrink.
Right. Yeah.
And someone from the leather working area was like, "Yeah, we got one over in leather work. Just go grab it from there." So
that's
like
that's
it's
handy.
a really cool like community. I like that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah. Well, very cool. When were we going to see your first projects? That's what inquiring minds want to know.
I mean, do you want to just see a battery holder and a than a motherboard or something. Like
Yeah,
that'd be
actually,
the first thing to get out of the way.
I would say, yeah. I
Um,
mean, share stuff on the Telegram or whatever. I mean, I would love to see. I get excited when I see people doing projects. So
yeah.
it's one of those things. If you just share it with me, and then whatever.
Yeah, we'll go from
everybody
there. Yeah. No, I think the first big project would be recapping the Xbox. That'd be
Okay.
the first one. Because man, those capacitors in the early 2000s suck.
Yeah. Yep.
They're looking a little puffy.
They do that, and then they whatever all over your
The device with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is kind of surprising that the stuff in electrolytic, the whatever fluid or whatever that it causes so much damage to the circuit
Man,
boards.
yeah.
What can you do though? Well, very cool. Well, thank you for sharing. I'm looking forward to see what other exciting things come out of that. That would
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah.
It'll take me a little bit because you have to like get checked off on the equipment and everything. Like they have a whole process to make sure that the safety stuff, et cetera. So
yeah,
it'll be a little bit, but yeah,
that
I'll
makes
let you know.
sense. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, don't be shy about sharing for sure. 'Cause I'm excited. All right. Well, excellent. Looking forward to a follow up on that, a part 2 or maybe 3 and 4. So I guess let's move on to the straw poll here. So, what best describes your experience with Debian 13? If you haven't done the straw poll yet, please do so. I think this is the straw poll link. Let me double check. Yeah, it is. All right. So there we are. If you want to check out that straw poll, I'll read some of the replies first, so that we can give you some time to vote on how it's been for you. All right, so first is, from Debian 12 to 13, I get 50 megabits per second less throughput. I'm not so happy. I expected an increase. So I don't know what that exactly means. Then I was rechecking over the last couple of days on different times of day, and yeah, I lost more than 50 megabits per second throughput with the same amount of CPU usage in OpenVPN switching from 12 to 13. No clue why. I'm not sure. Perhaps an update will fix that. So that was the only comment. All right, so go ahead and check the results here with what best describes your experience with Debian 13 Trixie. So in first place with 36.8% is it is good. Second place at 15 point, actually tied for second at 15.8 is it's amazing. Okay, it just shifted. Now a firm second at 20% is it's okay. Then third place is it's amazing at 15%. Fourth places did not have a good time with it, with 10% of the votes, and Text Penguin tied with fourth as well. And then fifth is not interested in this exploration, and then didn't have enough time, busy with work, busy with life. So not interested, didn't get any votes, and neither did other. So that's that. So I guess we can go ahead and get right into the distro exploration of Debian here. So let me take a quick take a quick timestamp here so that I can put that in the show notes. For Debian 13 or Trixie, we have some rules. So the intent of this talk is to talk about the different aspects of the operating system and discuss the experience with using it. The discussion should be objective and constructive, so non-objective opinions are not really helpful, and also they're not very nice. And so we'd like to keep this an uplifting and optimistic conversation. So even if it's a train wreck, let's have fun wrecking the train with it. So the point is to highlight the positives, but not to ignore the lowlights of the project. Remember, this is a labor of love for some, so let's not poo-poo on it. I didn't even look up history of Debian. So, whoopsie on me. So, Debian. Can someone throw out a Eric? You seem like the kind of guy that could throw out a rough history on Debian. I could probably pull it up from the last time we did Debian, but.
So it's a free and open source Linux distribution developed by the Debian project. It was established by Ian Murdoch in August of 1993, and it's the oldest one of the oldest operating systems based on the Linux kernel. And I think it's right in there with like Slackware, if I'm not mistaken. It's the basis of many Linux distributions, so it's a foundational distro, if you want to call it that, where it underpins many of its own distros, and then it also underpins Ubuntu, which thereby underpins a lot more distributions. So yeah, a lot of stuff is born from Debian itself. As of September 2023, Debian is the second oldest Linux distribution still in active development. Only Slackware is older, so I was right. I'm reading this from Wikipedia, by the way.
Oh, yep. Yeah, that's probably fine.
The project is coordinated over the internet by a team of volunteers. And so it has been in constant development and use since 1993. And for me personally, it's the first distro I ever used. And I used it on a self-built file server, which served me for many years flawlessly. Yeah, that was my intro to Linux all those years ago.
That's cool. Just on that, when I first got into like researching Linux, the reason I didn't go with, this is going to sound really silly, because looking back at it now, it's extremely silly, but I got hung up on the GNU/Linux. Like, I'm like, I don't want this GNU stuff. I just want Linux. And so I looked for a distribution of Linux that didn't have the GNU in it. And that's actually how I ended up with Mandrake.
Gotcha.
So silly now, but at the time it made a little sense.
No, I mean, if you think about it, the derivative Ubuntu came about because it was so difficult to install drivers on Debian, at least out of the box. So you had to know how to slipstream drivers and do all this extra work. And Ubuntu just worked, in quotes, for a lot of people. And that was how because it was for humans, if you remember the slogans and all that. So that's where that sort of came from. And by extension, then you had Mint come off of Ubuntu because it was hard to install codecs. So
right, I remember all that.
There was a lot of that early on. I don't see that as much anymore, but I'm sure it still exists.
Oh, I'm sure. I am sure of that. I think a lot of the confusion of like free and open source and all this, I think probably hung up a lot of people. Like, what does free mean? What is free as in the free as in beer, not free, or free as in speech, not free as in beer necessarily. All those things I think early on were kind of maybe not marketed 100% well.
Yeah, and patent encumbered software, so anything that was a driver, closed source driver, anything that was a blob that you couldn't look into, like a binary blob, that was stuff that they refused to distribute, which is what made Debian a little tricky to run. Right. You could find ways to add those things, but Debian did eventually, and actually not that long ago, include non-free software as part of their release.
Which is probably a good idea, I think.
Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Well, okay. So, did anybody have any problems downloading Debian? I thought that they've changed some things on their website, I noticed, since the last release. It's really easy to get to the downloads. Did anybody notice that change? I thought that was really nice. So
much easier than it used to be, that's for sure.
Yeah, because that used to be kind of one of the like, how do you download it? Now we're all good. They actually have a big download button, so that was handy.
Yeah, the downloads on that Debian used to be really hard to find the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it did. It's much easier. Although, still, I mean, it could be better because the whole like which mirror you want to download it from, and that can get a little daunting. I think if you're new to the whole Linux space, I think.
Yeah,
that caters more to like the uber nerd. So those that would have gotten into Linux, 20, 30 years ago, not a problem, but it might be a little harder today. But so I guess I'm going to talk about maybe some my installation thoughts, and so anybody wants to chime in, just go ahead and chime in. You have to raise your hand or just feel free to interrupt. It's not going to bother me. But I did want to say, going through the process, I think I like the Debian installer. I know a lot of people say that it's not an easy one, but Dale and I were talking before the show started, and we both actually like the installer. And
I'll admit that some of my fondness for the Debian installer is just nostalgic from years ago, installing that very first early on Debian, a very first early on Ubuntu. It's basically the same installer that it was then,
mhm,
except it's graphical now instead of uh, terminal,
yeah, TUI
and
based.
it's nostalgic.
Yeah, and it's very clear, step by step. I don't feel like it's mystifying at all. Like, you know what you're doing. But I did want to say I appreciate how the default option for new users, which I would never push necessarily a new user to Debian, so whatever. But if you're just clicking through, is one partition. Although sometimes I question if that's the best for distro hoppers to have single partition. So, I thought
Only if you're good. Only if you're good with clearing your hard drive every time you hop.
Right. So, right. I did want to. I would like to more about the logic behind this. Maybe some of the more experienced Linux folk could clue me in on this. But there were some other options where they had separating home, var, and temp into their own partitions.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Well, home's pretty obvious just because
Right.
you would have all of your settings and files and everything.
Mhm.
Temp, because you can fill up a temp folder.
Uh-huh.
It used to be, and some of this is very legacy. So, I mean,
Right.
that's not a problem that I don't think anybody's going to have necessarily anymore. And then var, I'm not really sure why var would be stuck, but I knew at some point, and I can't remember today.
Log spam, sir. Log spam.
Logs, very good. Thank you, sir. Yes.
Yeah, that becomes a big problem.
Yeah.
I'm
So
sorry.
if you have a system, so most of your logs are going to be stored in var, right? So var log
Yep.
or var something, and you also have caches there as well from various things.
Okay.
And so if you have that limited as a separate partition or some kind of quota, depending on how you're handling it, then you basically prevent your machine from completely crashing when it runs out of space. Because if you have an application that just misbehaves and just spams logs or something and fills up, if you just have one partition, right, and
Yeah.
it's just out of control spamming logs and you don't know it, the only time you'll figure it out is when the whole machine goes down because it ran out of space.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If you don't have any
Whereas
sort of a
if you-
quota
Yeah.
running.
Yeah. Whereas if you have a separate var partition, if it does fill up the var partition, it at least doesn't crash the machine.
Yeah.
You can at least log in and do things.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, we used to do that on Silicon Graphics also, because most of those machines were writing lots of temp data and logs when they were doing modeling. So they would actually, the group that I worked with, they actually had a separate physical drive for those things. So.
Yeah, I've never actually separated that out, and I've never had that as a problem. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe I don't know why, but it's never been an issue. But anyway, I thought it was interesting. The other thing too is I question the logic of continuing to use ext4 when there are options like Btrfs with copy on write snapshots. So maybe I'm just used to a certain thing, but I don't know. I feel a little.
That's very much what it is. I'll just stop you there and say,
okay.
Yeah, Btrfs works if the system is built for it. And I'm saying that because I'm not saying that it won't work otherwise, but you have to do more than just format the disk as Btrfs usually.
Right.
You've got to create your subvolumes and things like that, and then actually take advantage of it with snapshots and stuff like that. So I think that's probably speaking more to the installer doesn't really have a template or a pattern for a true like Btrfs partition layout. It's just letting you pick that as a,
Right.
As a.
I just went with the XT4, but I kind of sort of feel like it, with kind of how things have been progressing as far as the different whiz-bang-a-tree with file systems, taking advantage of a lot of the, like the copy on write for root, and then also even like the transactional updates that you can also do with OpenSUSE or like the Silverblue types with the immutable root file systems. I kind of sort of feel like, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but I kind of wish maybe I had some of that with Debian, but maybe that's part of the charm of Debian being the way Debian is. That makes any
I think
sense?
if you were to look at the overall usage case for Debian, like the usage statistics, if such a thing exists,
I'm sure they do.
my guess is that the overwhelming majority of people using Debian are using it on a server.
Mhm.
And their expectation would be if you're setting up a server, then you're going to probably have a storage solution or, have a RAID array or have something that's more than just that machine. In a lot of cases, it's part of a cluster or larger, setup. So I think by necessity, it's just sort of a simple configuration. And after the fact, you would then sort of maybe roll, or you're already creating a custom image and rolling out a custom, Debian image, than just using the vanilla installer. So I think
there would be
we're,
layers, right? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we're seeing the very simplified sort of end user installation, whereas I don't think many of the people who are using Debian actually even use that, frankly, unless you are using it on the desktop.
Okay. I'm just saying. It looks like War Thunder says EXT for the win. Hasn't done me wrong in many years. I've been using it. So there we go. That's, probably.
I still use it.
Yeah.
It's a very tried and true.
It is a fair bit of complexity underneath to have things like snapshots and quotas and all of that configured in a sane way. Like I know OpenSUSE kind of does it out of the box, like pretty well. CachyOS has a pretty easy way to set it up as well, and like there's some options, but it is much a good bit of complexity added onto the machine that I don't think most people would take advantage of. Most desktop users certainly, but even then, like if you're running in like any kind of business or enterprise, you're probably on a hypervisor and it has its own snapshotting system. You
Yeah,
probably
sure.
have a SAN or something like that also has its own copy on write thing. And yeah, I think it's fine that Debian just stick with ext4 just to limit the complexity, because they're trying to make it seems like they're trying to make the underlying system as simple as possible, while allowing you to do as many things on top of it as possible.
Yeah,
I got you.
and that speaks to intent, right? I mean, and I don't think they intend. They intend to have a very clean vanilla image, but I don't think the expectation, I think, is if you're going to make those kinds of decisions, you probably already know, or have a very strong plan and idea of like what you do.
Sure.
And to Adam's point, like there aren't a lot of people that are just rolling out bare metal servers anymore. It's a lot more, virtualized and stuff like that. So
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's I just throw these things out there as a discussion point, and
it's
admit
a fair question.
I admit
Yeah,
there's
totally a valid question.
a lot of things I just don't know, and that's why I have you.
Well, that's why we do this, because I think we all pick up on different things, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what I've always appreciated is like people see other things that I either didn't pay any attention to, or so good stuff.
And the cool thing about Debian is you can put ButterFS and all of that stuff. You can configure all that if you really want to.
Yeah.
Sure. Except I don't know how to do it.
It's pretty easy. It's just a few commands, No, there's actually some really good stuff online about people setting up kind of from scratch, like how to set those up from nothing and all that. It's actually, I wouldn't say it's like easy as in like one button or anything, but I don't think someone like you would struggle with it.
You'd be surprised. Sometimes I struggle just installing Debian. Not this time, but
I think if you've ever done anything with LVS, you'd be pretty comfortable with something like ButterFS. I mean, it's kind of volumes and container. I mean, it's not so alien and foreign, the concept of taking a pool and then subdividing it. And
well, it looks like a cautious commenter, which is that's a fun name, says LVM has snapshots too, and says has copy on write snapshots. So I've never used LVM. So what exactly? I know logical volume management. What is that exactly? Like
It's a software RAID essentially.
okay.
I mean, lack of a better way of saying it, it lets you create logical containers across physical hardware, or logical volumes, I guess you'd say, and then create, subvolumes dividing that space up as appropriate. And so you'll have the physical component underneath, if depending on how you're going to stripe your disks and all that sort of stuff, and then you would create
Okay.
your physical volumes, logical volumes, and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I think C's very own is plugging a different. This is Linux pub crawl. Does anybody know what that is?
Is that a British thing?
I don't know. But it says it's virtual, so one needs to BYOB. Yeah, I guess.
Cheating. Boo.
And I don't even drink booze, so for me it's a branched chain amino acid drink tonight. Sometimes it's protein. Okay, well, cool. Good information. So the other thing I thought was, again, maybe it's because it's who Debian's catering to, but the mirror selection is something that I think in 2025 is, I don't know, it seems a bit old, because I think I feel like most, a lot of other distributions or massive, large media download uses CDNs for content distribution. So I'm just wondering why Debian is still using mirrors in this way. Or is that something that is that like a nitpicky thing that I should just be quiet and move on?
Yeah, it's funny how you've lived in SUSE land for so long that things that you see as being like the usual and ordinary are really not necessarily the case.
Okay.
So yeah, mirrors are still
most-
pretty common.
Many distros still use mirrors.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, like Fedora doesn't either. They don't use mirrors.
Don't feel bad, Nate. I thought the same thing.
Okay.
I thought, yeah, don't feel bad. I'm on SUSE too, and I kind of thought it was normal.
All right. Well, it's just been so long, I guess. I mean,
Yeah,
I've done it many times. I just thought it just seems like it's a little bit at this stage, but yeah, you're probably right.
I think because it's not a corporate backed entity necessarily, they really do rely heavily, and one of the most expensive parts of a distribution can be storage space and bandwidth and all of that. I mean, some of these projects, the cost that you hear associated with bandwidth and server is tens of thousands, if not higher, per month, and it's just like, what? So yeah, depending on the size, and Debian is so big that if they didn't rely on mirrors, I don't think they could possibly operate. It's too expensive.
Sure. Right. I got you. One of the things I do like is they have the popularity contest. I think the default is no, so to basically not have that. But I always opt in for such things because I kind of sort of feel like, if you can help out the developers in any way, it's kind of a good thing, I mean, is that crazy? Am I like...
You're giving into big FOSS, man.
Yes, I guess I am. But
Yeah.
I know, like, Ubuntu's gotten so much heat for such what I call such trivial...
It is.
Such trivial things about, like, how they try and get, like, pull metrics in for helping them out with development and what's important. I don't like, I mean, I get it. If you are a paranoid tinfoil hatting individual, which I am, don't get me wrong, but like, I'm giving it to people who are also tinfoil hatters, right?
Well, I think Canonical in particular gets a lot of ire just because it's a corporation, because it's for profit, because, they don't necessarily trust what, Shuttleworth's doing. Like, for lots of different reasons, I think they see a danger or something in giving Ubuntu more information. But yeah, something like Debian in particular, like I can't imagine they would do anything, nefarious with that. And not that anything you're giving them is even remotely close to what hackers are stealing from a corporation every day. It's just this idea that you can live, completely, I don't know, like offline life or something is kind of a fallacy at this point. I'm not saying you shouldn't try. I'm not saying you should be stupid with your information, but if the Linux distribution that's providing you the platform by which you're, able to use your computer is asking for a very small amount of data that doesn't even tie back to you, then yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so Ubuntu, I mean, I don't want to get on the, on any kind of soapbox here, but so kick me off it if I do. But just, I really feel like Ubuntu has done so much for progressing the Linux desktop over the years, and they get so much, I don't know, just ire, I think that's the word that you used, Eric.
Yeah.
Over just any little thing that just doesn't quite fit the, I don't know.
And they're big contributors back to the Debian project.
Yeah. They Debian wouldn't stand without Ubuntu's development pushing into it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think if you're asking me and asking a lot of people, we would probably say yes. We just say please. It's like Plasma. I love Plasma has that sliding scale, right? Or it's like you can give nothing, or you can give a little bit, or you can give everything, or somewhere in between. Whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, that's how much in true KDE fashion, right? Being able to dial in exactly how much you want to give, but all of this stuff,
I slide it all the way to max.
Me too. I just feel like this is stuff that is important to them. They wouldn't be asking me for it if they didn't find it useful. And so it's not like a company that, that whole thing with Cambridge Analytica and stuff like that, where they had access to more data than Meta ever intended to give them, and they just sort of took it. And like, the question should always be, when you're storing something in the database, why am I storing this? Is this something that I actually need, or is this something that could be a risk to me having it here? It shouldn't be here if the answer is yes. And that none of the information I see them collect is anything that would make me think, I'm not sure about that. So
I feel like open source projects are, for the most part, obviously there's that Linux FX or whatever it was called that was kind of doing some shady things, but like the KDE project, which has been around a long time, has been great custodians of FOSS, open source, of I think of people's data as well, or of data that they're collecting. So yeah, and I think Zoe Ronan says, if only Microsoft asks so nicely.
Well, we actually talked today. That's a good point you bring that up. Why does Microsoft let people use Windows for free? I know they technically say you should use a license, but it works indefinitely without one. And the only thing they limit is changing the theme and personalizing the desktop, which doesn't stop you from using it in any real meaningful way. And why do they do that? I wonder.
For what it's worth, I would be willing to pay that just so I can have the dark theme, because I cannot handle the Windows Light theme.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but at the same time, like the idea that why would Microsoft, this major corporation, allow their flagship operating system to be used indefinitely for free? Think about that for more than 2 seconds, and I think you have the answer. It's like, so anyway, yeah,
for sure. Well, I mean, because you're the product.
Yeah.
I see, he says. Yes, I know. And that's the thing. Like, these people in open source, free and open source software, put countless hours into the evolution and the refinement of what is in front of me right now, to the point that it's my favorite thing to use out of any of my devices. I love being on, this laptop with this setup, and the fact that none of them, or very few of them, got paid to do that. If they did make any money, it was enough to buy a cup of coffee or something. And, if they, to further that and make it a better product, for me, are asking me for a very small amount of information, the least I could do is to give that to them.
Right.
So that's how I feel about it.
Yep, I totally agree. And yeah, I mean, I got nothing to counter that. So yeah, the popularity contest. So I chose KDE Plasma because, well, I just what I did, and so I don't know if you went on to the on that section where you can choose like GNOME, KDE, and a bunch of others. I can't recall it, all of them, but there's I don't remember seeing Debian blend of applications or software from previous installations, but maybe I didn't pay attention. Does anybody know what that means? The Debian blend? Is it like there are 11 herbs and spices?
I was going to ask the same question. You beat me to it.
Yeah, I remember that from the past. Like, I don't remember seeing Debian blend on there before, which I think is pretty cool that they have that. I just didn't know what that was exactly.
It says Debian Pure Blends. There's a meta package or an installer that was released. Blends provide installation media or derivative distributions. There's an EDU Pure Blend, which I guess is an education Pure Blend. So what I'm thinking is it's like meta packages that allow you to almost like Ubuntu Studio. If you can install Ubuntu Studio as a.
Then that makes sense for my next comment on that, because then when I went on the installer, they have a bunch of different. Those were probably blends. So they have a Debian Ham Radio blend, a Debian
I
Astro,
see lawyers, medical staff,
yep,
visually impaired people, academic fields, yeah.
And then I like the one that says a Freedom Box home server. I don't know what that is, but I wanted to check that out.
You could get behind that one, huh?
Yeah, okay. I know. I like it. Get my Freedom Box, and I'll give them my popularity contest. So, but anyway, I thought that was really neat on the installer. I like that they have. I don't recall those additional options at install time. I thought it was a lot more basic before, but maybe I missed some things on that, or maybe those are new. I don't know. I didn't do my research, but I just wanted to point out I do like this, what they're offering at install time. It's we often praise how simple installers are to get you going, but I'm going to really I'm going to really praise how nice this is to add additional bits and bobs.
In true nerd flavor, are you ready for this?
Yes.
We have the Debian terminology. We have a pure blend, which is a subset of Debian that is configured to support a particular target group out of the box. There's a blend, which is a Debian-based distribution that is or wants to become a pure blend. A flavor, which is something that wants to become a blend, a subproject, and then a derivative. So you've got all 5 of those things as sort of subcategories of hierarchy in Debian. Funny.
I like it.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty cool installation. Did anybody else have any comments on their installation experience that they want to maybe highlight? I just want to throw those things out there. Yeah, fire away, whomever.
Well, I installed using the I think it was Calamari's on my end, or maybe it might have, I don't exactly remember. But I pulled in actually no, it was using the whatchamacallit, the Debian installer. Oh yeah, that's right. I did the net installer, excuse me, so it was a Debian installer. And I pulled in XFCE because, obvious reasons. And I went about it, using the no install recommends because I wanted a minimal type thing. And along the way, I decided, what the heck, I'm going to remaster this. And I mistakenly, without being conscious about it, I screwed up my install by downloading remaster sys from GitHub. And lo and behold, boom, screwed it up. So I guess you could say I pulled a Ben one on that one.
Yes, you did. So you probably stepped outside of the Debian,
I stepped outside the
Yeah.
Debian realms of
right, of what they support,
of what should have
advice.
been done. So what I should have did was pull in something like Cubic or gone with the straight up live build, which was from the Debian repos. But yeah, I did something untraditional. So shame on me, so to speak. So, my installation was the opposite of everybody else's, smooth as butter. So.
Mine was pretty uneventful. I hadn't remembered the Debian installer for what it was because I just haven't used it in a long time. Probably since the last release, which was 5 years ago. So I got the net install, so that let me choose between either the command line installer or the graphical, which are essentially the same exact thing. There's just one is GTK and one is ncurses. So I was able to dual boot, set up a dual boot with literally no thought involved whatsoever, other than which partitions I was reusing. And once I did that, I picked GNOME and the other files that come along with it, and like it was done quickly. And the only thing that I think I did wrong somehow was I messed up the mirrors. So the actual sources file, because apt switched from using a .list to a .source file or .sources, I think. And somehow that file didn't get written properly. So when I went to update, it was like, eh?
I
So,
I had that same issue where like
Okay.
by default I didn't do
it
anything.
wanted the
to
disk
it.
or something.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah, so it didn't. It has to be fixed or whatever. I'd have to go through and
Yeah.
maybe reset the sources or whatever, however they define it now.
Well, all I did was I just found the right. So the file was there. It was just not filled in properly. That's what it was.
Hmm.
So I just had to fill in the non-free contrib and the basic repositories. And once I did that, and I just did a apt refresh or apt update, it did fine. The new apt is pretty cool. I know we haven't gotten to that point yet, but I thought that was neat. I haven't used it before. The version that comes with this version of Debian, it's an updated version of apt. It's like apt 3.0 or something. Anyway, and so yeah, I mean, I rebooted when I was done, and this system, it's my Latitude 5290, which is a 2-in-1 8th gen Intel i5, and I still have the Windows partition on it, just in case like my wife or my daughter need to use it for some purpose with the art pen and like to do stuff that they can only do on Windows. Anyway, it had the grub menu and had the entry for Windows on there. It booted automatically to Debian. And the only thing I wish it did, I'm just kind of overseeing the text scroll by. So I kind of wish it had done a quiet boot, which I just haven't fixed yet. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, it was just easy.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't check. Did anybody like activate Flatpak?
Yep, I did.
Okay.
And
No,
you do have to set it up. It's not
Yeah.
like it's not like some other ones where you just like at Arch where you just install Flatpak and it automatically has FlatHub configured. You actually have to do each one as a separate step. So you install FlatHub, you enable Flatpak, and then enable FlatHub.org.
I know what you were saying.
I'd fix those. I actually type FlatHub sometimes.
Oh, I do
And then
too.
wonder why it doesn't work. I should alias it
What's-
because that'll
what's
make it
going
worse.
on
Though.
here? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do that too, huh?
Oh, I think maybe everybody does. I don't know.
Yeah. So you can do like FlatHub is actually a short. You can do that as a shorthand for like flat, like
Well, maybe I'll alias it. And that way it'll just work.
like to search or maybe to install. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. Well, I have FPS as Flatpak search and I have FPI as Flatpak install.
Okay.
FPRs at Flatpak remove because that's how lazy I am. I figure put all the front load all the effort into an alias and then I don't have to deal with it. But anyway, so yeah, I did Flatpak, no issues there. Because honestly, that's what's beautiful about Flatpak is that I could technically keep using Debian indefinitely and not be in the situation we used to be in previous to, Flatpak and Snap and AppImage, which was that software would get very old after a few years, and all of a sudden, I mean, it may not matter, and maybe you don't care that you're on an old version of a desktop environment or you've got an old version of Audacity or whatever, because they're going to keep updating the things that need to be updated.
Right.
But you'll be on an ESR version of Firefox, which that's the first thing I always get rid of because I don't like that. I want to have the up-to-date release version. So there's a few things I changed after install, but I know haven't technically gotten there yet. So
Yeah, we may as well actually go there right now. So I do have a comment here from Eris. Says first run applications, updates, and so forth. Said I overall had a good experience. I overall had a good experience. I might have had a few possibly Wayland or Plasma bugs that did not reproduce. I like that now systemd boot is offered and works with Debian installer. I also like that if no desktops are installed with Debian installer, the installer now hard codes your Wi-Fi credentials into networks to have active Wi-Fi on the command line. So that was interesting. I didn't even think to do a no desktops. So
that's old school.
Yeah, what if it still
Servers.
uses Network Manager in the back end? Because Network Manager, you can do all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it's not the best experience of using network NMCLI or Manager CLI. It's not the best experience, but it's not the worst either. It kind of reminds me of how Jurassic Park, how they're trying to interface with the computer, that Unix system there. Kind of reminds me of that. NMCL, show, conf, and whatever. But anyway.
I think you could maybe argue that NetPlan isn't much better if you've ever used that.
I have.
Ubuntu. Yep. Yeah.
So the
not terrible, but you have to do that stupid formatting of the config files, and it annoys the hell out of me.
I think YAML, I think, is what it is.
Yeah.
But I think isn't it could be argued though that NetPlan is a little bit better for like cloud ready deployments. So like if you're
sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So
I understand that you don't normally like go in and manually play around with it, but you kind of get your known good config and you deploy it to that machine, but still.
Right. So like I had to deploy a couple of Ubuntu machines recently, and doing it on the Harvester virtualization platform from SUSE. It was really easy to very rapidly deploy an Ubuntu image with everything I needed because I just changed a couple of things in my config, for the IP address I wanted to have, the static IP, and then boop, all done. And it was deployed so rapidly, very nice. But I had trouble with my OpenSUSE Leap on my SUSE Harvester. But anyway, that's another subject for another time. So we'll, So I think NetPlan is pretty dope, honestly. So as far as applications and updates, anybody have anything they wanted to talk about, like maybe some things that they did to make it work for them? I'll get into that into mine, but I don't want to be the one.
So the one thing that can be difficult and that I forgot, not running Debian as a desktop for a while, was not all Debs are supported on Debian because there's kind of an assumption, I think, in many developers' minds that Deb equals Ubuntu, not necessarily Debian. And so, yeah, there were a couple things I tried to install that the libraries weren't there, and that I just couldn't make run. Like, I could not, there's probably a way to do it, and it's just too lazy to figure it out, but I couldn't get VirtualBox running because the installer just didn't. They want you to, I think, have add a repository PPA, and Debian's usually PPA adverse, so that's a problem. And yeah, so there was some stuff I just couldn't install natively, and if there's no Flatpak for it, then you're kind of maybe stuck a little. So yeah, I would say that there is a risk that running just vanilla Debian means that even though there might be a deb package available, that it's just not going to work because it's expecting Ubuntu and not Debian. And yeah, there's probably ways around some of those things, but it's not as simple as just getting the Debian installer.
All right, so Run of the Dolphin just said NMTUI. So Network Manager Terminal User Interface. Is that what that means? And
Probably.
then I went to search for it. Apparently, it's something I already have installed on my, like it's an automatic thing. I didn't know about that until tonight. So thank you, Mr. Run with the Dolphin, because that's also pretty dope, as Adam would say. Or no, he would say rad. I'm sorry, Adam. I put words in your mouth. I apologize.
Oh, Nate, I don't know if you know,
Unforgivable.
but Dolphin is the guy behind MX Linux.
Oh yeah, I know. He's been on here before.
We know Dolphin.
We know him very well.
Yeah,
he
we
is.
know.
We
Yes.
know Dolphin.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is
I actually
Mr.
did download his AHS installer, by the way.
What
Just for fun.
I would like to do, and I do want to actually give MX Linux a run
That's
after
so
it's because I'm sure he's going to rebase it on Debian 13.
cool. On 13.
Yeah, I'd like to see what he does for that, because I guess there's been a lot of underpinning changes in Debian that have changed some things. I'm guessing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
So
So
actually, speaking of that, Nate, StormOS is actually working on a D version as well, as a matter of fact.
cool. So
you'll hear more about that in a few minutes, actually.
yeah.
Cool.
Eric, you got the update situation worked out then by what did you do to fix the sources or whatever it was filed, the list file?
I just went to this .sources file and filled in, and I mean it's a very simple format, and I just found I think I searched for Trixie source or so. So you can have either the name of the release or the type of release. So you can say stable, or you can say Trixie.
Mm-hmm.
And it does the same thing while they are the same thing. But if you had Trixie prior to release, as they swapped it over to stable, then it became stable in the background, sort of. So I just used Trixie instead of, because at the time it hadn't been released yet. I think it was released on like the 8th or somewhere around there, the 9th, something like that. And I had it like a week early, something like that. So it was very close to being released. And so I think what happened was it asked me during the installation if I wanted to choose a mirror or something like that, and I think I clicked the wrong thing, and it just kind of like, it was probably my fault, but also one of those conditions that they may be not testing for because no one's dumb enough to do that. I don't know.
So Ronan says, if you do stable, do you automatically upgrade to 14 when it's out?
I think that's how that works. I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure. I know I read that it does understand that if you use the code name, it will also understand if you use stable, testing, unstable, that kind of stuff. So,
okay, that's good to know. Also, War Thunder says apt 3.0 is wicked fast. I think you have to say it with a northeastern accent when you do that. Wicked fast.
Yeah.
Look forward to eventually getting to use it more often.
And I also like the UI. It's very nice to have that status bar and the way the columns are and all that. Yeah, it's very nice.
Well, that's cool. I like hearing a lot of positive things about it. But anybody else then anything that they want to throwing GNU to Linux. Do you have any Debian input you'd like to lay on us? Some wisdom from your court?
I haven't tried Debian. I am pretty loyal with Linux Mint, and I just upgraded to 22.1, so I'm pretty busy with that. But I do think it's cool that Debian finally has a new release version. It seems like it's been awaited for quite a while. So
is Mint using the new apt 3.0, or is it? Because I'm wondering, like, I haven't heard of apt 3.0 until just now with Debian Trixie. So I was curious if maybe you're experiencing the apt 3.0 or not.
I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, I'm not either.
I want to throw.
Look at it.
So good. I was just going to throw out the other thing I've read was you don't have access to the latest NVIDIA driver in Trixie. So if you are using anything, NVIDIA based and that matters to you, I think they're at like, I don't even know the numbers. It's like 2 releases back or something, maybe even more. But I think it's substantial enough that if you cared about like gaming or machine learning or things like that, that you probably would look for a different distribution. So,
isn't the NVIDIA installer? There's something you can download directly from NVIDIA and then go over the top of whatever.
I'd have to look and see, but I know I read that was a concern for people.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't have anything NVIDIA right now. Maybe someday again, but not right now.
I actually have a AMD plus NVIDIA laptop, Nate, and I gotta tell you, man, that thing has been a daggone nightmare of a time to get Linux onto, regardless of what I put on it, StormOS or not, because, geez.
It's an AMD-based laptop, you said?
But with NVIDIA graphics on it, yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Now, one thing that's unique about that Lenovo, which is actually sitting across the room next to me, it's a Lenovo Legion, but ironically, it came with this configuration, and I did not suspect it would be such a pain in the backside to get Linux onto. And the one distro that I have not tried on is Debian, Mint, and I've considered that because there is an option in the BIOS to where you can turn off the graphics changing and just have it to be NVIDIA only, and I've considered that too, but I don't know. It's such a pain in the rear to get Linux on it, and I'm just, I don't know.
So yeah, if I check the Unix driver archive on NVIDIA,
Yes.
it's 580 is the latest production branch.
Really?
And yeah, 550 is the newest you can get on Trixie.
Oh, really?
So whether somebody will backport that kind of stuff, I'm not sure. There'll be like a hardware enablement kind of thing, or
seems like they would. Or you can wait for MX Linux.
Yeah.
And again, I think if you are moving toward, like, none of the influencers you've seen recently talking about Linux is going to be installing Debian. Not one, I guarantee you. So they're going to not, they'll be looking towards a distribution that has more of a focus on end user and hardware.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He's right. I mean, if you're a Linux influencer by some chance, yeah, you're not going to be running Debian.
Or even a tech influencer like these.
Yeah. If you're a tech enthusiast or something like that.
Mainstream fellers that have been, and ladies that have been trying out Linux.
Yeah. If you're a tech nerd or influencer or something like that, no, you're not going to be on the Debians. No.
Well, and like War Thunder says, Linux Mint Debian Edition 7 will be based on Trixie, and they will support, because they sort of bring over, I'm pretty sure they will do hardware enablement as part of that. Yeah, so that's a good way to run Debian, but still have access to newer things. So anyway.
Who do you think Debian, just straight Debian, actually appeals to?
Like I said, I think the majority of their user base is running server.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a tremendous amount of people running desktop. If there are, then a lot of people might be people who are looking for free only, because they still do produce an ISO that will only install patent unencumbered, or nothing that's a binary blob, that kind of stuff. So so that's potential. And then, again, it's such a foundational thing that technically a lot of us are using it, just by
Indirectly.
Yeah, exactly, indirectly. So so the desktop packages, I mean, Debian is just sort of one of the biggest repositories in terms of overall software. They've got tens of thousands of software packages. I think it was close to like 60,000 this release or something. So, I mean, the idea that they include all the desktop environments, they include, a lot of the software that would be underpinning the other distros. But then in terms of like, a lot of the end user applications, the graphical applications, desktop applications, those are things that aren't necessarily going to be directly in their archive. So, or in their repository. So, again, that type of thing, plus the limited hardware support beyond a certain point, the fact that once it's released, unless there's a security concern, you're really not going to see any of those packages get updated. It just makes Debian less and less appealing as a desktop operating system for a lot of people. And that's why you see so many derivatives. That's why you see so many specialized, distributions that are offering, either better hardware support or, a better out of the box experience for some of the desktop environments in Debian. When you install them, it's very, very basic. I mean, there's almost no theming in many cases, and it's just not a great out of the box experience by design, because they don't, like many distributions go in and have their own sort of spin on what a desktop environment, like how it's configured.
Right.
For
In
some,
particular, XFCE, right, Eric?
what's that?
I said in particular with XFCE. I mean,
Yeah,
it's so bare bones. It's
yeah.
almost like the dang 90.
Well, XFCE and then also Cinnamon had been, but if you remember this last release of Cinnamon, they improved that vanilla configuration out of the box. That was the first thing I tested just to see. And yeah, Cinnamon used to be almost unusable. It was just like so nearly broken. I mean, it wasn't technically broken, but I mean, it was a really bad out of the box experience. And now that's at least usable. And yeah, so in most of the desktops, I mean, I have GNOME I chose GNOME to install, and it's just vanilla GNOME, which is the same on Fedora. So it's basically, there's no difference, and you have access to the same extensions. And so the way it looks on my system is exactly like it would look on any other system, simply by virtue of, GNOME is using that same Adwaita out of the box experience everywhere, versus something like Cinnamon and XFCE, which, if you're using Ubuntu, is going to be using a different theme than, Debian, so that kind of thing.
Yeah, and to add to that, stability is the main reason most people run it on the
Good
desktop
point.
and for
Yeah.
servers, because it's
Yeah.
so minimalistic.
Well, and it took 5 years.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, there is.
and they don't do.
Did Mike cut out there for a bit?
I think I was going to say don't do rolling.
Oh, okay.
But
what I was going to say is, I kind of maybe an unpopular opinion, but it's just me. But I sort of like building up from that vanilla experience. Typically, that's what I prefer, at least in the KDE land, or even in the XFCE land. I kind of like that, the very basic, and then I put on the pieces that I want to put on. If that makes any sense. So something like the Debian model is very appealing to me in that regard, because I prefer that. So opinionated desktops, they're great. I like them, appreciate them, but opinions change, and I just like the unopinionated. Let me do it the way I want to do it. So.
Hence your affection for plasma.
Yes. Which, by the way, I have different configurations now for different workstations that I dock into. So I really like my plasma. But anyway, I did want to welcome. I see Vince and Ash. They've joined. I don't know if they had anything they wanted to chime in on or give their 2.5, maybe 3 cents on any of the stuff, since it's supposed to be everybody, not just Jinda. So
No, I do not. But I would like to hear from Ginger a bit more.
he never can keep his mouth shut, I find. So that's.
I have to apologize drastically again as usual, but I did like KDE. It is updated to 6.3.6 or something. It's on Debian, which I thought made a big difference. The last time I used Debian, it was like KDE 5 or something, and
Yeah, it was
I don't know.
5
To
to
me,
27.
it seemed a lot nicer.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a nice KD experience, I thought. I also
Yeah, it really was.
I like how they use the default. I think OpenSUSE should do this. They use the default like welcome to KDE. Like you go through all the different little steps right there in the beginning.
Yeah.
Plasma. That I think is tip top. Really appreciate that. I like it. I like it a lot. So, but that's my opinion.
Hasn't Plasma petitioned distros to not reconfigure it or change it in any way? Like they want people to just have the default vanilla. I thought I saw that.
I don't remember seeing it in Plasma. I know GNOME has, but maybe Plasma has too, and I just missed it.
Yeah, I think maybe they have. Anyway.
But anyway, I thought that was great. I like it because then you can set all your things right there, what you want, if you want, how much information you want to share, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. Oh, we got another Dale. Welcome.
Battle of the Dales.
You've got Dale. So I wasn't
Nice.
sure if
That's well done.
Yeah, well,
I got it. I don't think anyone else did, but
that's probably you and me. So, and also sad that AOL finally is turning off their dial-up access in the US. But
I would love to shake the hand of the person who was still using AOL dial-up.
yeah, like they have no cell service out there. Like is that the
and I want to hear their dial-up, their modem, just one last time.
Yeah, one last time of logging in. But that'd be something right there. All right. So I guess any other notable hiccups that people might have had that they want to talk about or anything like that? Or is it...
Can you guys hear me now?
I can.
Okay, sorry about that. I had a Zoom freak out. I had to re-enter the meeting. Just to finish up what I was saying is, in my experience over the years with clients, the only time I've seen them run like Debian desktop is to run a very specific piece of equipment or do a very specific job, and so that's why I was talking about reliability. One of my clients has a web server that has not been rebooted in 4.5 years. So it's a Debian server. So
well, hopefully it doesn't have any security patches required. Because that could be a little.
Yeah, I mean they had a few come out when they released 11. Was it 12? Yeah, it was 12 they put on, I think. And then after that, they just, they don't do.
Uh-oh. Did Zoom freak out again?
Uh-oh.
Zoom is being zoomy. A zoomer.
Could be.
Yeah.
He could be having problems with his dial-up.
It could be.
Mike was the last dial-up user. No, he's definitely on an ISDN connection.
Yeah.
Which I still hear are more popular than you would believe.
Really? I don't think that's even
Yeah,
often
I guess
around me.
just don't, if all you've got is the twisted pair, I mean, what are you gonna do? You know,
Yeah.
that's about as good as it gets over copper.
I wonder if I can still get a phone, like a regular phone. I would love to get like just get a home phone line just to have the obnoxious ring again, you know? Even telemarketers would be fine. Is that nuts? I'm gonna look into that now. I'm gonna make a note.
I have a uh, I have a VoIP adapter that I do have a home phone number. Like as if you were to get it from a cable company or something. I just did it myself because my wife didn't want to use her cell phone for business, and we've just never gotten rid of it.
What does that cost to have?
Oh, nothing. I mean, literally like $5 a year, maybe.
Okay.
You just buy, yeah, you buy the hardware for whatever it costs, and then you just pay for the service through,
Is there any way that you can share with me the information that you use? Because I would love to just do this.
Mhm.
I just want to I want to mount a phone somewhere in the kitchen with a really long coiled like line, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
I've tried to explain that experience to my daughter. How far can you get away from the receiver,
The one in
from the wall? Yeah, like that cord. I don't. How long do you think that thing stretched? Because it was almost impossible how far I got with it.
yeah.
30 feet, 40 feet.
Something like that. Yeah. So
I know you can get. I've actually seen you can get Bluetooth like phones that you can use with your cell phone, and that way you have it. I don't know if you had those office phones where you could like put it and pinch it against the side of your head.
yeah, we had like
The little cradle thing?
Little cradle. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and I think a lot of us got used to that, and then once we switched to cell phones and stuff, it's speakerphone is a little obnoxious, especially in today's working environment where you've got, you know, open work plans, which I just think are stupid and torturous, but whatever.
At a previous employer, we had that, and I thought they were great because I could be a little irreverent and get away with it somehow, but I had fun. I had fun with it. I had fun with it.
I just think staring at the people you work with, like, I don't know. I know cubicles are dehumanizing and all that, but at least you felt you had some amount of privacy and personal space.
Let's
Whereas
not
with
beat on
this,
cubicles too much. After all, I am Cubicle Nate.
that's true.
Are you saying I'm dehumanizing, or I've been dehumanized?
No, but people felt like they were in like a what is it, a maze, where they were like you'd sit down and everything was gray around you, and
yeah, that's true. I guess that can be a little blah.
I liked them too. I mean, you had a cloth wall in front of you that you can hang stuff on. How cool is that?
It's like almost like a padded room,
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, final verdict. Anything that some final thoughts on Debian 13? We like it. We don't like it. Are we happier with it than 12? I think I like the newer Plasma. I like some of the install options, so I like it more. Obviously, someone who they had some reduction in performance on their version on Debian and their experience. So I don't know if it was a hardware issue. We did talk about the sources being a little bit screwy. So that was for updates and whatnot. So that might be something that might get fixed in another release of this. So I don't know what else. Anything else? Maybe that we have to say about Debian?
Did anyone mention the updated app, advanced packaging tool?
We did app 3.0 and how it's faster. I think War Thunder. Who said that? Who said it earlier? I can't remember now. War Thunder thought it was pretty great.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I intended to get on earlier, but my neighbor, when I got my iPad, I stopped using my Android tablet, and it just was sitting in my bedroom. And he'd mentioned one day that his tablet stopped working, so I gave him my tablet and set up his Facebook and his Gmail and set up the weather app and all that. So I didn't think it was going to take that long. So, but that's my good deed for today. The other thing you'd mentioned the sources. I noticed that and this isn't even something that was new. This is something that they had proposed. Don't quote me on this. I'm thinking it was the changes to the sources syntax. I think was introduced for Bullseye, or it could have been even before then. I think it even could have been for whatever Nine's code name was, with the different syntax where they're moving the GPG keys net into the actual source file and trying to make that more streamlined. Did anyone talk about that with the new format?
Nope, we hadn't actually covered that either.
Okay. Well, as you can tell, I'm not that well versed in order to be able to speak on it anyways, but somebody in the, I think it was the Linux Mint Telegram channel had did some exploration on that, and I wish I could remember what they told me, but
No, you're right. You're right. So the .list format, which had been the default, just would have a line entry for the basically the URL of the mirror, and then which repositories you were enabling, whereas the sources format has that, as well as the signed by. So there's also
there's a separate line with the hash and maybe not even a hash, but it could just be like the GPG.
It's just pointing to the key, the GPG.
Yeah, the key, because it used to be where it was just in the GPG folder, and you had to add it. And I think the person in the Telegram was saying that took a little bit to get used to it, but it's nice having everything rolled into one. But I'm old and I don't like things that change too much, so I've run Debian for off and on for like 22 years, 23 years. And yeah, I just used to things not changing. I mean, that and the fact that I used
true Debian format, or true Debian fashion, if you had been using .list, it won't switch to using .source until you make that yourself. So
that's the good thing I was going to mention.
Oh, sorry.
About installing Debian. Like I think I had an install. I had Wheezy, and went from Wheezy to Jesse, and Jesse to Stretch, and that's when I went and did a fresh install of Bullseye. But yeah, that was, and Jesse was Stretch. I think it was Stretch was the one that was kind of the interesting one that had the. I think that's when they finally enabled UEFI on Debian, if I remember correctly. But that's once you set something, it doesn't change anything, because that's one of the things that Debian always says is they don't want to sort of like Linus. We don't want to break the user land. Debian doesn't want to change any of your.
Very reasonable thing to do, no doubt.
So Run of the Dolphin has some interesting things to add. It's just those options. I think is referring to the GPG key stuff, I believe. So they could be in the file list too, but it was a little weird. They had to be in brackets. He says, I like the new sources file, but Synaptic can't manage them. For those that care about Synaptic managing repos, use yes, but not enable or disable. So that's interesting to know.
Gotcha.
I just wonder how many. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not a developer, so I don't know what the pain points are going to be. But just think of all the GUI package managers that need to ingest the app sources files that have to be retooled to support all this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's going to be an issue or not, because I know Mint, when you click on the expanded details while it's doing an update, you actually see the terminal output of the commands that they're. I'm not sure if that thing is Python or some type of Perl. Not Perl. Oh, it's the other one, Python. Yeah. My mind's blanking. But yeah.
So Row the Dolphin said, we fixed MX Repo Manager in 1 day.
That sounds like bragging to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's called, what do they call that, a humble brag?
Dolphin is too much fun to talk to. It's been way too long.
He says, Discover doesn't enable or disable repos. I thought it did.
Ironically not.
It definitely sounds like an enabler.
The next,
yeah, no doubt.
The next question would be, when is Clem going to, or is he going to use app3 in Mint, and is he going to use it in LMDE?
Well, his version of apt isn't really apt. It is, but it's a wrapper. So, yeah, I don't know.
What is it then? If it's not apt.
It's a script. It's a wrapper script. It calls apt, but it does other things as well.
Oh,
so.
okay.
It's pretty much like a NitRAM FS is actually CPIO with a whole bunch of cryptic command switches that nobody but the thickest neckbeard is ever going to remember. So they made a script called a NitRAM FS, and they just passed the command to it. Yeah,
that's cool. Things I didn't know.
Yeah, it can be a little frustrating because if you expect it to behave like apt does elsewhere, it doesn't necessarily. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the apt-get. You do full upgrade instead of apt has dist-upgrade.
Right.
And then you have to, in apt-get, you have to have apt cache. You have to have, well, I can't even remember anymore because it's been years since I've used apt-get. But yeah, there's apt cache, apt-get, and then apt had everything built into that. So you could do apt search, apt this, apt that,
Yeah, I remember that change. That was like 5-8 years ago, though, wasn't it? When that all.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And then you can't forget about aptitude. But that goes way back.
Yeah, I have a very low aptitude.
Well,
cool. All right, so.
But I've been happy with Debian 13, so I think.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, I'm sure there's gonna be some bugs reported and things will get further refined as things go on. So, it might be worth keeping an eye on Debian 13 at least for a little while to see some of the change logs that come through on that.
I'd like to say on Tumbleweed, at least on Tumbleweed, I don't know about others. I haven't run them for a while, but if you bring up Discover, go to Settings, it does have sources that you can check or uncheck the repos.
Oh, it sure does, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I'm not sure. He may have been met by default, and OpenSUSE does this on our behalf, or I don't know what he means, but it is there.
What is this Microsoft.net that I have as a source on mine?
Turncoat.
Uh-oh. I have a tainted kernel.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, maybe you could run Battlefield 6.
Maybe, but I probably wouldn't because I don't even. Sounds like a lot of work. All right. Well, I guess let's go ahead and move on to next week. Housekeeping. So we will have a news flight night, and so any news topics you may have, send them on to Telegram or wherever, so we can throw it into the articles. Eris does a great job of compiling all this stuff on the Telegram news channel feed thing that we got going on there. So if you want to contribute to that, feel free. But if you have any suggestions for distributions or applications, any poll ideas, feel free to send those also to suggestions at linuxsaloon.com or in any of the Discord or Telegram groups as well. We'd like to hear from you. So I did want to get to one news story here, and I don't know if any of you watched Dave's Garage from
I have.
yeah. So I really enjoy Dave's Garage. He's a retired Microsoft developer.
Yeah,
And-
he's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's great. He's restores some old tech, that I think is pretty cool. And I can't remember what it was, but someone, I guess, in one of the questions, like why would you do a thing like that doesn't make sense, like with older vintage tech? He says, because it's cool, and which makes me think of like Adam Grubbs, who also says such things. Just it's fun just to do these things. It's just cool. So anyway, so I was watching last night. I watch his he's got a podcast that he does as a co-host, and I subsequently looked into it. But so apparently Microsoft is having to fix a bad update. Have you heard about this? Where their update is frying SSDs.
Yes.
So I don't know. So I just found out about this yesterday. I have already started the process of what I have to do in the enterprise environment. If this is an issue or not. But so the Windows 11 24H2 updates are reportedly causing data corruption and failures for some SSDs and hard disks as well on up-to-date systems. So it was first reported on Friday by a Japanese PC building enthusiast who saw drives with fission NAND controllers disappearing from the OS during heavy write operations like writing large files or many files at once. After installing the security update, it's got a great name, KB5063878. And the KB50626660 preview update. While some of the impacted drives were restored after restarting the system, the rest remained inaccessible even after reboot. So the user who first reported the bug also speculated that it could be caused by drive cache issues resulting from a memory leak of the OS buffer region. Our tests show that symptoms appear on SSDs with over 60% usage after approximately 50 gigabytes of continuous writing. Reports indicate similar symptoms on hard disks as well, they said. So Microsoft is reportedly working on a fix. I'm not going to read the entire article. I can put that. It's from Bleeping Computers if you want to read this further. Whoa. So what is this? Great. Now, someone say blame SUSE for SSD issues. Daniel. Can't do that. Anyway, so you're probably working on a fix. So let me ask this from you. Obviously, we're Linux Saloon. We're not Windows Saloon. I don't run Windows except in a VM locally, and I run it at work on a desktop because I need to. But what do you think this means for this is already people are upset because of the whole Windows 10 thing. You get a lot of people jumping ship from Windows now for gaming purposes. Do you think this is another absolute blow for Windows? Or what do you think is going to be the fallout from this? Or is it just going to be just a bump in the road? Because, they've had updates where it made your files disappear on Windows 10, I don't know, probably 8 years ago also, in the late 2010s.
This seems like a very controversial discussion, if you ask me.
I don't think it seems controversial. I think I'm interested in seeing what what it's going to cause. Because this is, we just had, was it early this year or late last year with the CrowdStrike issue, blue screened half of the 80% of the world apparently shut down because of this Windows bug. This is a pretty serious issue, especially if you have high data transfers. Is the correct answer then to just stop updates for the next 5 weeks until Microsoft can get this thing fixed? This is certainly, Joe Panico says it certainly doesn't help Microsoft. You're right. It doesn't help them at all. But this is very concerning from an enterprise perspective. I mean, I already said to the people in my at work, I think we need to probably pause updates, and what are we going to have to do to prevent against this, because we can't have. I can't fix 140 some odd computers in a single day. This is not going to work for me. So,
Do you have control over when it updates at your system?
yeah, we can handle that in our domain controller.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned, that the previous issue, and that required literally going to every single computer for most people, and so that became like literally a job for
Right.
weeks afterward. So, yeah, I mean, that's always sort of been the balance with Windows updates. You do not want to be in the first wave of updates unless there's some critical security flaw. You just don't want to be, you want to, and this is also why they do generally phase in updates. They're not pushing them to everyone at the same time. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong, again, unless there's, an advisory to do so. There's nothing wrong with just holding back a little while for stuff like this in case it happens.
Yeah, I agree. A couple of clients I have that run a lot of Windows machines, they generally don't push them. They don't do updates for several weeks once they're released, just to give them time to research the KB articles and see if there's any issues being, brought up with them.
Yep.
So Steve's Rayon is saying it's only affecting 23H2 and 22H2. It's not affecting 24H2. But actually, this article specifically calls out 24H2 updates are causing the data corruption. So I don't know. Maybe either the article's wrong or maybe what Steve's Rayon is wrong. I don't know. I'm going to probably lean toward Steve's Rayon is wrong, even though it hurts me to say that, because I never want to say he's wrong because he's such a beautiful man. But yeah,
he wants to get on and defend himself, so be it.
yeah, I mean, it's all good. But anyway, for me this is concerning because it does affect me, not me personally, but me professionally. This is a big problem. So I think we're a little. I don't know what our cadences of when those updates come out. So yeah, I think we're probably going to. On Monday, I'm gonna have to go and check these things out, because Tuesday I think is when the updates usually roll through for us. Update Tuesday, because it's this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to fix all the problems that come down. Essentially.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think with the thousands of developers they have that they would have caught this before it got out? I mean, are they all running hard drives, spinning drives on their computers?
Well, it's both SSD and spinning. It doesn't. It
even affects spinning. I didn't see that.
It's SSD and HDD. So, this is according to the Believe in Computers article. But I've read a few articles now, and I think this one's just structured a little bit nicer. But yeah, Dave's Garage. He recommended just suspending all updates for 5 weeks. That's what he recommended doing, and he's a retired employee from Microsoft.
Oh yeah, he was during the 95 NT. Yep. I think that's when he was doing that work. I didn't catch that about this spinning.
Yep.
But what's really interesting is there's a lot of Debian developers working at Microsoft. A lot of them are doing systemd. Like the guy that found the XZ. He was a Debian developer. That's why he was using Debian to do that testing.
What if it was an inside job and somebody on the Debian team did this? I'm kidding. Fake news. I have no idea. So
yeah, it kind of makes you wonder, though. I mean, dog fooding.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and maybe it's actually, they're trying to get rid of all of the existing Windows PCs, not just the ones that wouldn't run Windows 11.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So that everyone has to buy a new computer.
Yeah, it could be. So Joe Panico says, last I heard, at least 31% of Windows is written by AI, so this could be part of the issue.
Yeah.
More speculation, but that's a fun one.
Oh,
Too much vibe coding with AI on Windows and didn't vibe well.
Yeah, they're pretty good about getting on top of these things. They'll have it worked out pretty soon.
I'm sure they will, but it does concern me.
Yeah.
it
Well,
is
one,
concerning.
Maybe Anrita says Microsoft lay off their testers working, so now it's biting them in the tush.
Yeah.
yeah, there is one thing that Dave had mentioned in one of his previous videos. I've been watching him for quite a while. I think probably close to when he started his channel, and it was like somebody in one of those AMA type things for his his channel. One of the things he pointed out about the size and scope of the Windows code base. He said there's not like one person that can compile Windows. He said it's teams, and it's pretty much like this group does this module, this group does this group does this, and it's pretty much like a staggered type thing. So it's once he was explaining, because some people were asking him about these bugs. How do these things get away? How do they not know, this, that, and this, and that? And Dave was pretty much, it's all, he said that, I don't quote me on that, I can't remember his details, but he said back when he was doing this, back in the 95 days, NT days, their build machines had like a gigabyte of memory, like a couple gigabytes of memory. This was back when we still had machines, they had 16 megs of RAM. 128 megs of RAM. He said their build system had that, and they said that they couldn't. Some of this above my pay grade, but he said some of the linking and the compiling they couldn't do at the same time. They said that there isn't a thing where make clean, make build, make clean Win32.exe. He said it's not like that. He said Windows is so large that you can't compile it as a one thing because it's all like in pieces. So after he was explaining how they do this, it all made sense to me because it's like you can have 20 different groups, and if one person makes one mistake, it's just a house of cards.
That's
Well,
pretty wild.
it's not just that. It's you have dependencies that you're having to assume work well when you're developing code, like drivers and so forth. And if those things are misbehaving, then it's all downhill at that point. So that's another part of the mix too,
Yeah.
is having to deal with the dependencies.
So Windows is basically like Slackware from 1993.
There you go.
It's not.
Only on a grander scale.
Slackware's not that bad. We're running Slackware on floppy.
I spent hours on wustle.edu looking for files to fix my my Slackware box back in the 90s, and that was what Washington Archive at the Washington University campus of it's very confusing. It was basically St. Louis is Missouri State, but it was their Washington campus at St. Louis. That was the WU archive. Then it's wustl.edu. It's Washington University, St. Louis. I got it out.
Gotcha. Well, I guess it'll be interesting to watch, see what happens. I think it's concerning across the board, the complexity of the machines, and I think maybe Linus Torvalds was right when managing a monolithic kernel, although it's not really monolithic technically with the dynamic modules. But anyway, the monolithic core kernel is much cleaner than the microkernel design, which that's what Microsoft uses for the Windows. So maybe maybe he was actually right in all this, and then that's what keeps a cleaner code base for managing Linux long term. I don't know, but it's interesting to see. I know that I can compile a Linux kernel myself, and I don't need a giant farm for it, so that's a positive. But yeah, this is very interesting stuff. So, yeah, Daniel says hybrid. Yeah, it's kind of a hybrid. It's weird. It's monolithic at the core, but not totally monolithic. So, anyway, well, it is time. I was gonna actually give Ben for Storm OS, but he took off. He said he had to go, so he's got things to do. Anyway, so it is time for last call. So we'll go ahead and move on to last call quickly, since I guess we're short on time, or kind of at the end here. I guess well, whatever. Rather than going around the horn here, did anybody have anything they wanted to say on their way out? I know, Mike, I do want to point it to you real quick, because I know you got a lot of feedback on your application since last time, right? And I don't know if they had any updates on that.
Yeah, I pushed a new package out this last week with a bunch of bug fixes. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's new versions out there of MarkLight and
MarkLight.app.
Yep, MarkLight.app, and it's a Debian package. And also, I've been updating my BBS. So there's some new cool things on there. If you want to go check it out, it's classicbbs.net.
So for those of us that, like, I haven't used the BBS in a while, like it's actually been probably about five plus years since I've used the BBS, maybe, I think, been a while. So what application would you recommend on Linux to access a remote BBS?
There's two. One is called Netrunner. It's just basically download it, unzip it, put it in a directory, and run it. It works pretty well. And the other one is called SyncTerm, which is a little more complex.
Did you say sync turd?
Yeah, SYC term, TERM, SyncTerm.
Oh, term. SyncTerm. Okay.
TERM, yeah.
I thought you said turd. I'm like, what is this called?
Yeah, that's it. And because you have to compile it on Linux, but matter of fact, let me put a link if you want to.
Well, for those of us running OpenSUSE, SyncTerm is available.
Yeah.
It's in the main repos.
Okay. It's a really nice terminal program. And, it's surprising. There's a lot of BBSs still out there.
That's cool.
I mean, a lot. I was shocked. So mine's pretty new, so I'm still adding a lot of stuff to it, but I've got something called MRC Chat, which is basically like an open chat that allows you to chat with anyone else on any other BBS.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. So it's like a worldwide chat. So, and few downloads I'm continuing to add to the download section, and putting networks online with it that have message bases. So it's just slowly coming along. So, but check it out. You can do it through a web browser just by going to classicbbs.net, and I believe there's a link to Netrunner at the bottom of the page too, if you want to.
Okay.
If you want to try it over Telnet. So.
Cool. Well, that's neat.
So thanks for the plug.
Absolutely. Well, if anybody has any projects they're working on, I really want to highlight those as much as possible. So, please feel free. I know Tyler does a lot of stuff. Historically has done quite a bit with coffee and Linux. So if you had anything like that that he want to plug, I'd be more than happy to. Jinda doesn't plug anything.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Not a plugger.
Well, there we go. And then GNU to Linux. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to plug that you got going on.
Lately I'm on the Mintcast with Eric and the rest of the crew over there, so that's where you can see me elsewhere.
All right, and then so yes, yeah, you plugged Eric, so there we go. So check out you and Eric on the Mintcast. That's cool. You said you got a new camera. Is that something that you were?
Yes, briefly. I I used to use a very poor built-in webcam on my 13-year-old laptop, and then I decided, wait a minute, I'm a photographer. I have equipment, and I bet you it could be used as a webcam. And sure enough, I had to do a firmware update, but I have my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K and one of my Canon lenses, and it's just the right frame, and was dialing it in today, so
That's cool.
that's why I made two appearances on podcast today.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad you're able to. I hope we're able to help you dial in or fine tune anything here. That's great. So the camera can handle that long term, like for doing a 2-hour podcast. It doesn't like overheat or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yesterday, I left it on for like 3 or 4 hours. It does get a little warm.
Mhm.
You know, if you touch the bottom where the metal, like the screw hole is, so it's not without consequence. However, it hasn't overheated, and it's worked pretty well. So I
Alright.
just got to get a mount instead of just carefully placing it on a box like it is right now, and clamp it to my desk, and then I should be good to go.
Well, make sure you check out Mintcast then, so I can get GNU to Linux and Eric Adams. And who else is on that? Just out of curiosity.
Several people, Bill, Moss, a few others that are regulars.
Okay.
Yeah, I make random appearances based on my schedule.
Oh, very nice. That's fantastic. It's good to hear. Dale, got any other? I know we last time we talked, we had you were transitioning website hosting, but apparently you backpedaled and went back to the old hosting and.
Yeah, I
good to
got
go?
my money back and just restored everything like it was. Everything's working again. So you can go to my website now and read my articles that I do on occasion.
I gotta look into that transactional update thing. That's something I need to play around with. So it, I don't know if you read my last email I sent you, but essentially, it
Yeah.
almost sounds like transactional update it's built locally instead of in a cloud and push down. So you actually the building is all happening on the machine as opposed to.
Yeah, it's basically all it's doing is doing a pseudo zipper dup. And the transactional update is telling it to dup.
Yeah.
And then the next process of transactional update is it tells it to create a snapshot.
Mhm.
And if both of those work properly and do what they're supposed to do, the next thing transactional update will tell it to do is go ahead and reboot, and then update's done. And
That's
it will
cool.
actually, it's kind of smart because if it does a dup and doesn't need to reboot, it'll skip the reboot. So it's pretty smart.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I do plan on I have 3 test machines running what I wrote up in that article, and so far they're all working. So I am planning on doing a video for it probably sometime soon.
Yeah, I'd like to play around with that a little bit more. I just haven't had the time, but that's good to know.
If anybody wants to go to lowtechlinux.com, that's running Tumbleweed, which is probably not a lot. If you're running Tumbleweed and you want to test out the automatic updates scripts that I wrote or instruction set that I wrote, I would like more testing. If you're running Tumbleweed in a VM, that would work too, as long as you leave the VM running.
Yep. I'll try and do some of that just because. Well, good deal. Anybody else have anything they wanted to plug? Jinda, Dale, Tyler? No. Anna
Oh,
wanted to plug that their other podcast she listens to is Going Linux, Late Night Linux, Linux User Space, and Linux Matters. I didn't see Linux Out Loud on there, but I'm sure she just omitted that. Oh, wait, she did put that next. Yeah, there we go. Linux Out Loud. Thanks, Anna. Which, by the way, I am on that podcast, Linux Out Loud. But someone else is going to say something, and I think I interrupted.
I was sinuses are kicking my butt.
It happens.
Yeah, the lovely schizophrenic weather we have here in Ohio.
Yeah.
I'm going to be bringing back distro hoppers after about little bit over a year hiatus due to life happening. I wanted to try to bring it back this coming month, but had a little mishap with the update to the management engine on my ThinkPad that ended up breaking it. And I found the motherboard for the the T560 for $30. And it was in Indianapolis, which is only like a 6-hour drive from here. And somehow the USPS has turned that into a 4-day trip, and I still don't have it. And it ended up being, the last time I checked it, in a city 30 miles south of here. The eBay app says it was misrouted, and the official USPS website says we're processing it as a local facility. ... 30 miles south of your house, but we don't know when you're going to get it. Now, I was
Nice.
hoping to get it this weekend so I could take the laptop with me, but stuff happens. But yeah, just look it up on Telegram, Discord. I'll try to make an announcement, and I'm thinking of I have some people that are interested in being co-hosts, so we'll see if that pans out. And I'm also looking at this, having some random guest hosts coming on, talking about their favorite distro and stuff. So
Cool. If you ever want someone to come on and talk about OpenSUSE Tumbleweed, I'm your man.
I have some people in mind for certain distros that are kind of underrepresented. yeah, I know Bill from Mincast is a big Arch fan, and I know I want him on there because even though we've done a lot of Arch reviews like Archman and Archcraft and Endeavor and et cetera, we've never had Arch proper. And I've done a few reviews on OpenSUSE, but I wanted someone that actually uses it on a regular basis, and that you're the first person I thought of.
I'm going on, what year is it? 14 years now as my primary distribution. Well, Leap or OpenSUSE, then Leap, and then Tumbleweed, but all in the OpenSUSE family.
People are shocked when I tell them that I've been using off and on, because I've tried other distros, but there are people that are shocked when I tell them that I first started on Debian in like 2002, and some of these people weren't even born yet.
Yep. A good deal.
Yeah, I'm starting to get the gray hairs to prove it.
Life does that to you. Well, I'm on a podcast called Linux Out Loud, so you can check that out. My co-hosts Matt and Wendy, we banter a little bit and we have fun. I have also a website called cubegamate.com. I just released an article based on what I talked about 2 weeks ago about finding my earbuds, so I got some details on that and how I found them. And I'm actually surprised by the number of views it's had today, but oh well. A little bit more than I thought. So Linux Saloon is part of the Tux Digital Network, so check out more good shows at tuxdigital.com. And thank you all for your support, however you do it, being a part of this conversation, both the Zoom meeting and the YouTube stream. Yeah, so this is YouTube, yeah. And for all of you that watch the show after the fact, I truly appreciate you doing that. Linux, I want to thank everyone involved in making the Linux and open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy our technology. Linux truly puts personal back into personal computer. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, and please remember to Linux responsibly. Until next time, see yas.